According to a survey commissioned by Go One and conducted by OnePoll, passive-aggressive behavior at the workplace is at an all-time high. According to the poll of 2,000 employed adults, 69% say passive-aggressive behavior has become a problem at their workplace, and 48%, just about half, say behavior has increased since pre-pandemic era. So with some of the causes and some of the solutions is psychologist and executive coach Dr. Lisa Orbe-Austin. Dr. Lisa, this is a big one.
Yeah, it is, Natalie.
So what type of behaviors are we talking about here? What are some examples of coworkers being passive aggressive?
So some of the behaviors the study noted was sarcasm, talking behind your coworker's back, the silent treatment, complaints and resentment, and dishonesty were the highest behaviors that they noted.
And so often, a lot of us point the fingers at other coworkers, but in this survey specifically, which really surprised me here, 68% of respondents admitted to themselves being passive aggressive. What are the top ways that we can all work on our communication skills at work?
Yeah, I think it's really important to recognize that communication at work really does create psychological safety. And if you don't have safety at work, it limits the way that you can interact at work. So I do think it's important to note that passive-aggressive behavior does tend to come from unexpressed emotion and not necessarily knowing how to express it or having trouble communicating it and having trouble with a problem-solving skill. So working on actually dealing with the feelings, not necessarily at work, but processing them somewhere so you can have a communication that's a lot healthier becomes incredibly critical.
And Dr. Lisa, when it came to this survey, they gave us the top 8 reasons for this type of behavior. We're going to hit just on the top one because this surprised me as being the number one reason. It's poor time management at 51%. Why is that the number one contributor?
Yeah, because I think, time management issues come in both directions. So it can be individually, you have trouble kind of prioritizing and managing your work tasks. And also, too, you may be getting too much work and it's making it hard for you to manage it, which often leads to burnout, which leads to resentment, anger, frustration, having a poor kind of bandwidth, and that makes communication even more complicated. So it makes sense to me when people are really pushed up against the limits of time, they often feel like they don't have the ability to kind of communicate with thoughtfulness.
So when we come across a coworker being passive aggressive, should we just ignore them, be direct with them, or somewhere in between?
I always say it's really important to remember the power dynamics at hand, to consider those when dealing with the person. But if it's a coworker or someone who is a direct report to you, it's important to kind of address the behavior, note what behavior you're actually seeing, and then ask them, what's going on? Is there something they want to share with you? And be receptive to hearing bad stuff. Because if they're acting passive aggressively towards you, they typically have negative criticisms to say about you. So you've got to be able to handle that in a positive, healthy way and actually potentially address those and don't dismiss them, because you want to be able to demonstrate you can actually tell me the hard thing and I can communicate with you about it and potentially change so that they don't keep acting in these passive aggressive ways.
All right, Dr. Lisa, thank you so much for today. Make sure you guys check her out on Instagram at Dr. Orbe-Austin. And she also has a new book coming out next month. We're going to talk all about it. It's called Your Unstoppable Greatness. Thanks again.
Thank you.